Alright then, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is HD StarCraft, and I'm here to bring you guys Game 2 of this extended series, this best of 7, the rematch between the Red Zerg player here in the top right-hand corner of Cloud Kingdom. He is the man who needs to win the next 4 games in a row. Certainly has a lot of pressure on the line. It is MVP.Dongraegu. And you know what, man? If Dongraegu can pull off this comeback, if he can somehow get himself together, and he needs to do it now, because last game I don't think he was all together. I think he was playing maybe a little bit in a state of just not in his own mind, you know. Sometimes you play StarCraft and you're thinking so hard, and you know what to do mentally, but your fingers just don't do it physically. I've actually had this happen many times. I don't know what it is, but maybe, you know, after having been 2-based 3 games in a row, the first game of this set, he just completely did not play up to his usual standard. Can he recover? I don't know, man. If I had to put money down on any player, I think DRG would be the Zerg I would do it on. We'll just have to see. Down in the bottom left-hand corner, we do have the blue Protoss player. He certainly is not having any psychological problems right now, man. He has got to be in the best state of mind he has ever been, because he is just 1 game away from taking home a $5,000 prize. And once again, this is for IPL's Hot Import Nights Fight Club event, and this is the grand finals. 1 game away is Hero, and how will he play this out? I'm very curious to see, because will he go for another 2-base timing like he did in the other 3 games? I will. Let me just allow me to go ahead and explain this in a way that, in a mathematical way, so to say. If you've got, say, like a 30% chance to pull off a win using a 2-base build against Dongraegu, which track history of these games so far, the history of these games so far suggests it's much higher than 30%. It's something like 100% so far. If that's the case, Hero can just keep doing this every single game for the next however many games he has to play out. I think it's something like 4 or 5. And he just needs to win 1 time. So mathematically, statistically, that's how he should play, and eventually he'll probably get that win. That means Dongraegu has to play a perfect game of StarCraft 2. He has to perfectly scout and know exactly what the Protoss player is doing and react accordingly. The matchup has devolved back to the point where Zerg needs to be the reactionary race again. They don't have the luxury of being the first ones to attack anymore. And it looks like that probe, is it going to make a gateway? Yeah, it is. It's going to make a gateway. And that's just being extra annoying. Huck MC style. Be as irritating to Zerg as possible, throwing up a gateway right where the real estate of a hatchery normally would be. And, you know, he's going to be able to cancel this and get his money back. And for 37 minerals, I believe. It's always hard to do math while you're casting. 37 minerals, I believe. That is a worthy trade for Protoss players. And they can make that knowing that that hatchery will be a little bit more delayed. Dongraegu immediately going up to a 3rd base, playing that style of Zerg that he is so comfortable with. He is a player that does not switch it up, unlike someone, say, like Lenok. He doesn't play super crazy, like even Nesty. Nesty plays much more aggressively than Dongraegu does. You know, it's just their playstyles, and DRG is so solid, usually, to the point where he can hold off most types of play. I just don't know why he's been so susceptible to Hero these last few games. Perhaps Hero is his kryptonite. Who knows? We'll just have to see if Dongraegu can get it together, man. He has to do it. He's got to do it for the viewers and the fans who want to see a close game. Even I kind of want to see him take at least 1 win here. It would be such a shame to lose 4 games in a row, 5 games in a row actually, to Hero. But Hero has other thoughts and plans. I'm sure he does not want to let the Zerg win at all costs. He would love to take a 5-0 victory, man. He just wants to get that $5,000, and anyone in his shoes, you know, unless they were not all there together mentally, would be thinking the same thing too. If I was him, man, I would be doing whatever I could to get that 5 grand. And looks like there's a couple of Zerglings just chilling on the map for now, seeing when that initial scouting force comes out. And we know already from history that Hero likes to send out a double Zealot or a Zealot Stalker combination to check for that 3rd hatchery, and that's a really important scout too. You want to know if the Zerg player still has that 3rd hatchery or not, because if they don't, then obviously it's a 2-base all-in. So it's a good idea to confirm scout, and it looks like the Zealot and Stalker are coming right now, and there it is. Couple of Zerglings here, though, so with the Queen as well, that is going to be pushed away, not going to be able to do much damage, but it gets the job done, which is checking to make sure that third hatchery is there. And right now, it looks like Dongraegu is starting to mine the gas. Standard timing, as standard can be, and probably will start the speed again before a layer, I'm thinking, and whoa! What the heck is this? Hero is going for an uber fast Nexus. That is not common or conventional at all. He just took the standard rulebook and ripped it apart and threw in his own chapter. This is crazy. Now, he's got to win this fight, because if he doesn't, the Zerglings will scout that third Nexus. But he's going to lose one Zealot. Now, those 4 Zerglings, are they going to run down to the third, or are they only going to check the front door? This is so crazy from Hero. He started the third Nexus before RoboBay even. He went 1 gate double expand. That's his build right now, and the Zerglings have found it. So now Dongraegu's got to be thinking, what the heck are you doing, sir? That is really crazy. And you know what? I think on this map, it actually makes a lot of sense. If you think about it, this is Cloud Kingdom, and it's a great map to hold off Roachling aggression, because you can wall off and play the Tetris style with Protoss buildings very easily. You know, everything is super narrow. It's like a hallway corridor labyrinth here. And so I think if there's any map where you're going to go for a quick third base as Protoss, this is the one to do it on, man. And Hero has successfully landed down the greedy third base before RoboBay. He just started his RoboBay on that production tab. So this is really insane. And what is Dongraegu's answer to this? Is he going to grab a quick fourth and take it to the late game? Hero's obviously not doing a 2-base timing. Or is Dongraegu going to... He's going Spire. Whoa. Actually, I really like that decision. Note, he threw down the Roach Warren and everything. Originally was going to go Roachling, I think, but he's decided to switch it up with Spire. And if you think about it, it's actually genius. This is really, really smart, because a Protoss who goes for that quick third base is probably going to be throwing up a bunch of cannons at the front of the third and not behind his mineral line. So these Mutas, theoretically, will not have much opposition to deal with, because the Protoss probably is investing all of his money into frontal cannons and not behind the scene backdoor cannons. And if that's the case, then Mutalisk might just be the answer here. They might just be the ticket that Dongraegu needs to punch to get his train ride to $5,000. We'll just have to see, man. Very interesting decision by DRG. And that Zealot right there, oh man, what a great position for that Zealot. It will take down so many kills before it dies, but it will die. As Hero moves out, trying to save it, sending out the rescue party, but there is nothing left to rescue, man. His soul has been lifted to Ire, where the Zerg have infested it. Now that I think about the storyline from Brood War. Where do Protoss souls go to now? I have no idea. Somebody who's really into the lore will probably type in the comments below and let me know. There's like millions of books out in StarCraft 2 too, which reminds me of a funny time when I wrote this book report in school based off of StarCraft, and my teacher did not accept it. This was like in high school. Man, hate that teacher. Anyways, getting back to this game here. Hero has thrown down a force field. Those Zerglings are going to get annihilated. Very good force field. And I think here comes the Mutas. Yeah, Dongraegu going for Mutalisks, and was it scouted? I believe it was by that observer, so we do have a quick blink coming out, and photon cannons coming in the back, and Hero has denied the first wave of Mutalisks, which is absolutely huge. Usually when you go Mutas, that first wave is the most critical wave because you have the element of surprise on your side, but now the problem becomes Mutalisks are not a very good, sturdy late-game unit to have. They evaporate very quickly. They're more of a harass-type unit, or you can use it if you're Zerg in a backstab kind of way, in a base race kind of way, because they're very good with their mobility and Zerglings to base trade. But here comes DRG. Hero needs to be careful. He's going to lose all of his sentries. He's going to lose every single one but one. Oh my god, those sentries had so much energy. That was like 600 or 700 gas worth of sentries. All that gas just dissipating. And that has got to hurt so badly for Liquid.Hero, considering the Zerg is going Muta Zergling. And Zergling's obviously very affected by force fields. Now there's no force fields, and Dongraegu, realizing the scene vulnerability, is going to go for a run-by. He's inside the main, and it looks like he is going to go right for the Nexus. Very interesting play here. The probes holding position over the photon cannon. to protect it, but that's not what needs protection. It's the Nexus that needs protecting. The Stalkers eating up the Mutalisk, but they don't even care. They're going for the Nexus. Muta's finally retreating, and down goes the Nexus to the Zerglings. A critical blow landed there by DRG straight to the face of Liquid.Hero. That was a complete slap in the face, and Dongraegu gets in there and does so much damage, putting the Protoss back a single base here. It's almost like it negates the fact that Hero went for such a quick third. Now, Dongraegu is going to go back in here. Not too sure about this because there's Archons now, and those Archons are going to be able to eat up these Zerglings and Mutas. Stalker's also blinking forward as well, and Hero takes out a lot of the Zerg army there, and exactly what he needed to do too, considering he lost the main Nexus already. That's one of those situations where, well, you just lost a base, and if you can eat up any portion of the Zerg army to try to get back in the game, that is a present, I think, a gift that you've got to take, and Dongraegu kind of gift wrapped some of the Mutas and Zerglings right there for Hero. It would be a good idea now, considering that there are Archons on the field, for the Zerg to do a tech switch. If it were me, I would probably try to get out some Roaches right now, because Roaches can be decent against Archons, but there's a lot of Stalkers and Immortals out there too, and so that's why I die a lot to Protoss. But yeah, I don't know what DRG is going to try to do. He certainly has to do a balancing act right now. Obviously, Infestors are always kind of a win unit. They're good against everything, and that's why we have Pathogen Glands coming right now for the Zerg player. Hero likewise trying to set up the 4th base, so he has basically gotten the main base up, trying to get the 4th base up at the same time, wants to stay on par with the Zerg. Not a bad idea. Those Zealots going in Johnny Rambo style, but there's so many Spine Crawlers there. I don't really think they're going to be able to do much, unfortunately, and they will go down. And more Spine Crawlers coming up as well. Dongraegu has gotten Banelings on the field. Interesting. He is going to go Ling, Baneling, Infestor. Huh. That's interesting. That's actually not a bad strategy at all, but the Protoss has Archons right now, and Baneling's not so great against Archons, nor are Zerglings. It looks like Dongraegu going in here with the Mutas, but the Stalkers blinking in and pushing them away, doing some damage there, but I don't think DRG lost anything. He still has map control on the field. Very good map control, in fact, with all these Lings and Banelings and the Mutas. Stalkers blinking away, but one was unable to be saved. And now it looks like Dongraegu is going to go into the Protoss 4th, but Hero drops the Storm. What a great Storm, and the force fields couldn't have been better. Totally cutting off the Banelings. And now Dongraegu has lost most of his army, is going to have to retreat, but on the way out, he is not going out without a fight, has decided to take out the Nexus as well. No, he won't. Yes, he will. And down it goes. So that's the 2nd Nexus he's killed today, and that has got to be so irritating for Hero. He laid down almost perfect force fields and perfect storms. If those were not on point right there, he would have lost a large chunk of his army to those Banelings and Mutas, but he did so much damage and he still lost that Nexus. The power of the Swarm. And now Dongraegu is morphing out. More Banelings on the field, is finally transitioning away from Mutalisks and getting a greater Spire out. You really do need the more sturdy composition of Broodlord Infestor to deal with late game Protoss, not Muta Zergling. It is just too flimsy and more of a base trading, backstabbing type of army than really a heads up, I'm going to fight your army head on. Hero right now trying to reestablish the fort, at the same time also moving out with his Protoss army, and actually is going to be able to find this Nexus, but the Zergling's running in once again, and this is exactly what you want to do. With the Zergling Muta composition, go for the backstab, and Zealots warping in right now. The Zealots actually doing a pretty good job at holding off the Zerglings. Muta is still doing a good chunk of damage, and now Hero's army, half of it wants to go fight, the other half wants to go back. Nobody knows what they want to do, and I guess the Zealots drew the short straw, and the rest of the army said, go fight. We'll go back and defend against the Mutas, and it looks like the defense will hold solid. The Nexus is not going to fall down. I don't know where those Zealots went. Yeah, they really drew the short straw. They are just gone. Probably eaten up by the Zerglings and Banelings. New 4th for the Protoss, still trying to be reestablished. In fact, it has been established. And will Dongraegu try to break this location, sending in a couple of scouting Zerglings, I guess? Those guys really have a sucky job, and they just died. But I think we have Broodlords on the way. There are 8 Broodlords on that production tab, and Dongraegu is probably waiting for those Broodlords to hatch out, and then he is going to do his death march on the Protoss 4th. And the problem here for Hero is he doesn't have a Stargate yet. He needs to get Void Rays out and then get a Fleet Beacon for the Mothership. That is the only way for Protoss to really deal with Broodlord Infestor. You can fight it off with just purely Stalkers, but it is kind of hard to do. You really need to have like perfect A+ micro. You need to blink against the Broodlords and do a whole bunch of funky stuff that is very hard for Protoss to do. But Hero can probably pull it off, but he really needs to start that Stargate. There it is. Stargate on the way on the production tab. But Broodlords are morphing, man. That is so many Broodlords, and I think once Hero sees these Broodlords, he's going to say, well, it's time to pack the bags and go home and then wait for my mothership. And yeah, he's going to back it up here. He just saw the Broodlings shooting down. May the Broodlords blot the sun out with their Broodlings. Here they come. And Hero, he's going to have to micro this perfectly. Dongraegu looking to get this Nexus down, and if he can, he solidifies his chances at a second victory. He's launched out some preliminary infested Terrans. Storm going down, but whiffs most of the army, hitting the Terrans, in fact. And the feedback hitting the Infestors as well. And Hero has conceded a little bit of ground here. Gonna blink forward the Stalkers though. And what a storm! What a storm! Secondary storm comes down, hitting the retreating Banelings. And now the Broodlord's taking a good brunt of the damage. And once the Zerg units come in, Hero pulls away. Great micro by Hero here, who needs to play this perfectly against the Broodlords. Blinking in forward once again. Dongraegu is going to lose a lot of Broodlords, but his infested Terrans are countering the Stalkers. And it looks like it's a close fight. Reinforcements are coming in as well. Meanwhile, at the top left-hand corner of the map, a slight skirmish, nothing too serious. And Dongraegu pulls away. No, he's coming in with Zerglings. He pulled away the Infestors, but I think that Hero will hold. That final storm kills off the rest of those Zerglings, but more units are arriving. Now we actually come into a funky part where Hero has held off the wave, but the thing is, Zerg can remax so much more quickly than Protoss can. And because of that, the wave will probably continue here. Dongraegu isn't giving up. He sent in reinforcement Zerglings, and Hero desperately trying to warp in Zealots, but the Nexus is taking quite a bit of damage. The shields have been depleted, and now the Nexus is taking permanent damage on the hold. The Zerglings redirecting their focus on the Nexus, and the Nexus has fallen. That's the third Nexus that has gone down this game. What a critical blow, considering we have a Fleet Beacon and a Dark Shrine coming up. Now, let me just, there's a couple things interesting here. First of all, the Fleet Beacon, we're probably not going to even see a mothership because he just lost that 4th base. It is going to be so hard for him to afford that. Secondly, he threw down that Dark Shrine as soon as he lost that Nexus. He is killing the Changelings off right now, but he threw down that Dark Shrine as soon as he lost his Nexus, and that's really funny because that is what you got to do as Protoss. If you sense you're about to lose the game, go DTs, man. They are such a, in the late game, they're very low risk considering the cost, pretty cheap in the late game, but high reward. They can get you back in a game of StarCraft 2, and that's why he threw down that Dark Shrine. You know, this is what every top level Protoss does, and if Dongraegu is not picture perfect with his detection, with his overseer, spores, spines, whatever, he could potentially lose a bunch of hatcheries and drones as he's scrambling to defend. So this is pretty interesting. Will Hero be able to get back in the game with DTs? It is not uncommon at all. But Dongraegu still has a lot of Broodlords, man. He is so happy with being able to take down that 4th Nexus. That is just giving him one step closer here to mounting that epic comeback. If he wins this game, he only needs to win 3 more, and he will take home that $5,000 prize and complete probably the biggest comeback that I have ever casted. So this would be absolutely insane. Those roaches coming around the backside, not really doing too much. Going to actually run into all the anti-armor that they can even handle and get slaughtered. 7 Infestors on the way right now for DRG. And, you know, I think he's just building up the ultimate Zerg Deathball, Broodlord Infestor, and he's got quite a bit of them on the field right now. Unfortunately, Hero has not made any DTs yet, which is interesting. Is he going to warp them here on this pylon where the Zerg hatchery has newly come? No, he's going to bring his Stalkers. He hasn't made a mothership either. Not too sure what's going on. Maybe he's just trying to get up his army rather than go DTs. And I mean, he's been able to secure the 4th Nexus. So I guess he's feeling here he can still recover. But the Broodlords are coming, and that is so many Broodlords. A feedback out of nowhere, though. That Templar was so brave. And here comes those Broodlords. I don't know how Hero's going to be able to hold this off without a mothership, man. He's coming around the eastern flank, but the Storm comes out, not really hitting the Infestors. Those Storms were better, and the feedback's pretty good as well, but there's so many Brood Lords! The Stalker's blinking underneath to snipe the Brood Lords, but all the Broodlings and Zerglings have surrounded the Stalkers, and this is such a futile effort, man. There's just too many Brood Lords, and I think this game is going to go to DRG. Hero calls GG. Unbelievable. Dongraegu has completed his first victory here on a very long and arduous road to the comeback of the ages. He needs to win 3 more in a row. Somehow in this last and final game, he finally was able to dig down deep and show us the DRG style that we have been waiting to see. And that was such a beautiful game of StarCraft 2. If he can keep this up, then he might just be able to do it. We'll have to see what happens in the next game. This is HD signing out.